Okay, what is happening, people?
How we feeling?
It is a great day to be great. College football is on. The NBA is back. How about that Oklahoma City Thunder squad? I mean, I'm telling you, something special is happening this year in Oklahoma City. College football's on. We got the NFL tomorrow. World Series happening. I mean, you could say it is the peak of sports at the moment. Formula One is happening. Good things.
I mean, it's all happening. It's all. If you love sports, it's the time to be alive. If not, then
well, please still stay alive.
We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, guys. Go ahead and do us a favor. Just drop a like for us as we start the stream. Such a simple way for you to help support this channel. Hit that like button. We're going to be answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats will get priority. Now, I think it is important for us to just quickly, before we start answering questions, and maybe we'll take a second in the middle of the stream to remind people, there are some potential games that we need to be aware of that we might need to lower expectations for, specifically because of weather. Those games in particular would be Jets-Giants. There's an 89% chance of rain, so there might not be as many explosive plays through the air. The biggest one that concerns me is the Jaguars at the Steelers. There's a 97% chance of rain. There should be some wind. And Calvin Ridley was one of my hot takes starts of the week. But what's important is readjusting to new information, right? And I'm not ruling out Ridley as a start, but if the conditions are like this for tomorrow's game, it's raining, high winds, then we have to lower expectations for any pass catcher in this game. That's George Pickens, that's Deontay Johnson, that's Calvin Ridley, that's Christian Kirk. So if these predictions end up being right for the weather tomorrow, lower expectations for these guys. If you have a pivot, consider it. And then the other game that we have to monitor is Chiefs at Broncos. There's a chance that there is snow in this game. Now, it's a low chance, but it's going to be a very cold game. 27 degrees, so it'll be below freezing, apparently, right? Because 32 degrees is freezing in America, correct? That's how that works, right? I think you're muted, but...
I am muted, yes. 32 degrees is freezing, sorry.
So it'll be very cold. There's a chance of rain. Let's keep track of that. So, like, your Rashee Rices out there. You start Kelsey no matter what, but your Rashee Rices, your Suttons, your Judys, think about that. But those were the main games that I was concerned about, was Jets, Giants, Jags, Steelers, and that Chiefs-Broncos game. Everything else looks pretty good as far as weather goes.
Yeah. Obviously, you have to adjust accordingly when new information comes out. So definitely keep that in mind. I think you're probably going to hear a lot of, if the weather holds up, you start them. If it doesn't start them, you guys are going to have to do with the information we give you today, going into tomorrow, as things could potentially be changing. So stay tuned for that. But appreciate you guys.
Yep. So just keep all that in mind. Again, we're going to take time and answer your guys' questions today. We'll go from top to bottom. Super chats will get prioritized. The only other thing that we ask is that you guys hit the like button for us on this stream to help the channel grow. The first question that I can see is from Eater. It says, pick one running back: Hunt, Deonta, Rashawn. Let's start there. This is Hunt for me. I know there's a chance that Jerome Ford plays. I would lean towards him not playing. So Hunt would be my option if that's the case.
I will be going Deontay, excuse me.
Deonta?
Because Deonta for me, because I actually do believe that Jerome Ford is going to play.
Okay.
But I would agree, if he doesn't play, it would be Kareem Hunt for me.
Okay.
In that scenario. So
go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna reiterate. If Kareem Hunt plays, or if Jerome Ford plays, I'm going with Deonta Foreman. If Jerome Ford doesn't play, I'm going Kareem Hunt.
Okay, yeah. I think regardless, I'm going Kareem Hunt myself, but I can understand it. And for flex, pick one: Garrett Wilson, Deontay Johnson, or one of the running backs from my flex. This would be Garrett Wilson for me.
Yeah, it'll be Garrett Wilson as well.
All right, the next question that I can see here is from Elijah McSweeney. Which, that's an awesome name. Pick three: DeMarcado, Pierce, Henderson, Warren, Jeff Wilson, Jahan Dotson. DeMarcado and Henderson stand out, as well as Warren for me. Okay. Now, I will say that this is very much like a toss a coin in the wishing well and see what happens scenario with the names that he's listing. Damian Pierce is obviously interesting, but again, not really sure what his role will be. And I know it's a good matchup, but that's at least slightly concerning. But just going to double check my rankings on this one because it is very close.
Yeah, for me, it's Damian Pierce, Jeff Wilson, and Henderson. I bought Pierce and Jeff Wilson as high upside plays coming into this week. Starting off with Damian Pierce, this is one of the best matchups for a running back. Devin Singletary is in consideration, as I brought in that video, but if they get into that red zone area, you hope that Damian Pierce is going to be there. And Jeff Wilson, the head coach already said that the situation based off that game last week just didn't get to do the things that they wanted to do with him, and it was clear that they were still working him in, that he was going to get more work this week. In Henderson, I'm really just hoping that he finds the end zone, to be completely honest with you, and you kind of expect him to get this workload going in. Yeah. So Pierce, Henderson, and Jeff Wilson.
I think a difficult part about this question is there is no clear answer, and I think that honesty and transparency is always good. There is no clear answer, and you can make a case for any one of these guys starting. But yeah, for me, Henderson would be my one because of the offense that he's in the role. It's not a good matchup. My two would actually, as I'm looking at my rankings, be Damian Pierce, and my third would be Amari DiMercato because from what we saw last week, Keontae Ingram was not injured. He was healthy, and DiMercato played over 80% of the snaps. He got all the work. So it's kind of like the same reasons that people are playing Darrell Henderson. It's like same reasons you should probably play DiMercato. So that's where I stand there. We did just get a super chat, so let's get to that straight away. It's from Samuel Piazza. You love to see it. Thank you for the donation.
Piazza.
So in his donation, he says half PPR, I assume, one flex, Henderson, Foreman, Sanders, Christian, Watson.
Just one here.
Yeah, very, very difficult one to answer, in my opinion.
It is very difficult. Half PPR. I'm going to be going with Christian Watson here. I feel like he has the highest ceiling, and someone I believe, coming into this week does have the safest floor. We did get word that Aaron Jones is still not going to be 100%, which means it could result in them throwing the ball a lot more than expected. And we saw, the last 3 games without, or the past couple games without Aaron Jones, what he's been doing.
I think Jones will play, though.
Yeah, he will play, but I think the reports basically saying will be on a snap count. He's not 100%.
Right.
We're going to keep him limited. So give me Christian Watson because I do believe he could definitely find the end zone this week.
It's funny because that's what I was thinking, like who has the best chance to find the end zone, and I feel like it's one of those running backs between Henderson and Foreman with what they will do on the goal line. But I will say that of all of these options, Watson has the clear upside in my opinion. So if you really are shooting for the moon, I think Watson is a play. It's a good matchup. And when Watson is healthy, Dobbs has clearly been number 2 for target share and stuff. So it would be Watson for me as well, but it is close. By the way, guys, over 50 people watching the stream. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're going to be answering your questions from top to bottom. Super chats are the only questions that get priority. Thank you for the donations. And do us a favor, go ahead and smash that like button. Help us get to 50 likes. We are currently 21 likes away from 50. So 21? The math checks out. If everyone hits that like button right now, we can get to that 50 mark, get this stream popping. The next question in order is from Isaac. Nico or Rice at flex? I'm going Nico.
I'm going
especially
Nico as well.
After that news of the potential weather, but even before that, Nico. And then
Nico.
Najee Warren at running back. Badaki, where do you stand there?
I really don't think there's a big difference. You really think of these guys, Jaylen Warren, running back 28, Najee Harris, running back 37. They're both getting 50, either 40, 45 plus percent of the snap share.
Yeah.
I will go Najee Harris though. I do believe he's still quote unquote number 1 in their eyes.
Right.
If they get into the red zone, they will use him as well. So give me Najee Harris.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. The funny part is last week the guy who got the first red zone touchdown was actually Jaylen Warren. So it really truly is a.
I think Najee scored as well though in the goal line.
No, he did, but I'm saying it was in the red zone and they chose to use Warren. So
Warren first, right?
That could happen this week, and it could be no touchdown for Najee, or it could be in reverse. So all I'm saying is like there's a lot of unknown there, but Najee would be the choice for me as well. Just adjust expectations for either of those guys. We did just get another super chat from the Dazed Full. Thank you for the donation, man. We'll get to this straight away. Gus Edwards or Deonta Foreman? This is where I lean Deonta Foreman. How about you? But at the Chargers, I'll just be honest for 1 second. What concerns me about Deonta Foreman is the game plan potentially ruling him out of being relevant. Like, I don't see this being a blowout like what happened last week versus the Raiders.
Exactly.
If this Chargers team is up, I think we could see like a 70% opportunity for Rashawn Johnson as a pass catcher here. Could be wrong, but I mean, there's a good chance. I'm not saying it will happen, but there's a good chance that Deonta puts like 12 carries for 40 yards, no receptions. That's the concern for me with Rashawn Johnson in play. But at the moment, with the information I've been given, Foreman would be my option here.
For me, it will be Gus Edwards.
Okay.
And for the reasons that you've specifically said.
Sure.
Right. I'm going with game script. I'm going with the opportunities that we have seen. Obviously, Gus Edwards had one of his biggest games last week, because of game script. And if this Ravens team continues to do that against the Cardinals, who can score, even so could the Lions, right? Who's known to score as well. I think Gus Edwards can find that same game script coming into this week. And the Cardinals do give up the fourth most fantasy points to the running back position. So I'm gonna go Gus Edwards here.
The only thing that concerns me with Gus, and really these guys are in very similar situations. It's just Gus I think he's the worst talent, but I think he has a better situation.
Sure.
But I think we could agree, like, would it shock you if Justice Hill had 15 points and Gus had like 6 this week? You know?
No.
And the same can be said with Deonta, like we just mentioned. It's very.
I don't think
very
anyone's
difficult.
safe.
Yeah.
I don't think either of these guys are safe. I think the way I view it, and I think we're both viewing it, is game script.
Exactly.
Right? Like how who can score more points via game script. So hopefully that helps. But thank you so much for the super chat.
We did just get another super chat from Smooth Life, and anytime I hear the word smooth, there's this YouTuber I used to watch. He used to play NBA 2K My Player, and it was something smooth. Anyway, maybe someone can let me know in the chat if they remember as well. But he was just really fun to watch. I wonder what he's doing now. Anyway, full PPR. Thank you for the donation, man. Which two of these, Kirk, Ridley, Higgins? You know, here's what I will say. We talked about the weather in this game. This could be the game that impacts the passing the most of any game this week with the weather. In fact, I moved Trevor Lawrence 5 spots down in my rankings just because of the reports that were coming out. Now, if we wake up tomorrow and the reports are it is sunny, no rain expected, then my answer to this question would be Christian Kirk. However, if rain is truly a big deal and the weather is awful, I would pivot to Higgins. I think that is a good pivot option. So that's how I'm playing that question.
And that's exactly what I would say as well. Pivot to Higgins if anything. So hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for that super chat there. Smooth Life. We did get another super chat here from Filoni. How you doing, brother? We appreciate you. Happy Halloween coming up here soon. What's everyone dressing up as Halloween? You going trick-or-treating with your nieces and nephews or what?
Well, it's just not big here, is it? You know?
Yeah, it's just not big here, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like America, is it?
No. Well, Filoni said Burrow or Golf coming into this week. And I think both of these guys, in my personal opinion, could have massive games. I'm still going Joe Burrow. I know he's playing the San Francisco 49ers. I know Jared Goff has probably one of the best matchups at home as well against the Raiders. But give me Joe Burrow. I'm still believing in what he can do, especially coming off that bye week. He should get more healthy. He should be more healthy.
You know, I don't think my answer is going to help. Really, you get a clear answer here. My answer is they're back-to-back in my rankings, and I have Jared Goff 1 spot ahead. It's very close, but Goff at home is someone that you want to play, whereas Burrow, I think he also has a good game. They're right beside each other, but it's a very difficult call. It's Goff for me because he's at home and has a better matchup. Then he says, and flex 1, Palmer, Madison, Javonte. Do we know if Palmer is playing?
Palmer is going to be a game time decision.
Okay.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, isn't the 40? No, they're playing in the second half. Look, what you can do if Filoni, this is what I would say. I'm starting Palmer, right? That's who I would technically be starting
If
over
he
all
plays,
these
I
guys.
agree.
If he does play, but if you don't want to, if you want to wait to see if he's going to be playing, Javonte Williams is playing the Chiefs in this snow game, which might result in, if it does snow, in more of a run heavy game.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to wait to see if Palmer plays, and if not, I'm happy to start Javonte.
I think you'll have that answer. Like you'll have like a expected to play or not expected to play by the time you need to make that decision. If you get expected to play, we'll go Palmer. If not, we'll go Javonte. We're on the same page there.
Yeah.
Another super chat here from Hold Toast, so we'll get to that straight away. Thank you for the donations, guys. Very, very kind.
We appreciate you.
By the way, we are currently 12 likes away from 50. If you guys can do us a favor, do us a solid, go ahead and smash that like button. It's just a very simple way for you to help this channel grow. You guys have been awesome this year with all the streams, all the videos. Thank you for the love and the support. Hit that like button for us. We are answering as many questions as we can today. Let's get to 50. We are currently 11 away from it. But Hold Toast, thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate you. Half PPR. Maybe I'm an idiot. What is W/T? Is that wide receiver / tight end flex? Maybe.
So half PPR,
as
wide
in,
receiver, tight end flex.
You don't have to start a tight end in your roster. You can choose between tight end and wide receiver. That's how I'm reading it.
Right. Okay. Then it says, I'm assuming there's another super flex. It says running back, wide receiver, tight end, super flex.
Okay. Where I'm debating between Goddard, Madison, or Tank Dell. I'm assuming, Badaki, we are choosing one of these options. Like that's what I would assume from reading the question.
That's what it sounds like.
So Dallas Goedert plays Washington. It's an okay matchup, but I think he's the best option here.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I will be going. I'll be going Dallas Goedert coming into this
What
week.
I will say is I do like Tank Dell this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's the highest scorer, but based on the information we currently have, Dallas Goedert would be my option there. So thank you for the donation, man. Really appreciate you. And I see a lot of you guys saying Smooth works for 2K now. Chris Smooth. Yes, that's right. Chris Smooth. You guys know that's the boy. Loved watching his videos. All right, again, we're going top to bottom unless there's a super chat. And the first question up top is from Just Flow. Should I start Hunt over Aaron Jones this week? Here's what I'll say. If, and obviously we need to know, if there is no Jerome Ford, then I would start Kareem Hunt over Aaron Jones. What about you?
Yeah, I think with the information that we know with Aaron Jones, I'm just not confident in starting him. Okay. And I think I might go Kareem Hunt regardless until we understand where Aaron Jones is at. I mean, if you read the reports, if you listen to what Coach says, he is saying Aaron Jones is not 100%. Even though he's removed from the injury list, he is not 100%, and we're going to take our time with him. Meaning that he is not going to get that crazy percent of workload that you're expecting. I'm going Kareem Hunt with or without Jerome Ford, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, I can understand it. I still believe Aaron Jones is just as talented as he was last year. It's just the health that is the concern. So
completely agree.
I can understand where you're coming from. But if Ford plays, I'm going Jones. If not, I'm going Hunt. And I can understand either way. It's a tough decision. Yeah. What's up, BJ? He says, is it now risky to start Rice with the weather condition? If so, should I bench him for Dell or Higgins? Higgins is my pivot there. I will go and play Higgins with the weather.
Completely agree.
HQ says, need a wide receiver and a flex full PPR. Ridley, Higgins, Bourne, Henderson. He says, I'm leaning more towards Ridley and Bourne, but then again, I'm shaky on Ridley and Higgins too, but I love the upside of Higgins. Wide receiver and a flex. Definitely Higgins for me. And then I think Ridley, unless the weather is truly horrendous, then I would pivot towards Henderson.
Okay. I would pivot towards Bourne. I think Bourne has a good high upside coming into this week, and one of the guys I brought in my videos.
Sure.
So hopefully that helps. You said, would you drop AJ Dillon to pick up Singletary? thoughts. I think we answered this question and we said maybe in a couple days ago, maybe we got a similar question. AJ Dillon's someone that should be rostered, so should Devin Singletary. I don't think AJ Dillon should be the one that is dropped for Singletary. And we're going to know a lot of information after this week. I think we keep saying that with Damian Pierce or Devin Singletary of who is going to be leading this backfield after this bye week.
Here's the issue, right? This will go one of two ways. Devin Singletary will take over the backfield, and he'll be the hottest name on the waiver wire next week from people who didn't stash him already, right? That's one way it will go. The other way it will go is Damian Pierce dominates again, and it was just a flash in the pan, and you dropped A.J. Dillon, who has better long-term value than a guy who just had a flash in the pan. So it's truly going to go one of two ways, but I would lean towards keeping Dillon there.
Yeah. So
dope. Yeah. What's up? Sit 2. It's a big tight end premium here. And we have to sit 2 of these names. Is it crazy to say Judy?
No, it's not. It's not crazy. You have to sit 2. So I think Judy is definitely one that I will be sitting. And I feel more comfortable with Foreman, Kmet, and Gus Edwards over JSN personally.
Yeah, with Metcalf confirmed.
With
playing.
Metcalf back, we had to see what that looks like, at least for me. Last week didn't Kmet drop a goose egg as well?
Kmet didn't play. Yeah, he played. Sorry, but he didn't get a target.
He didn't get a target with Tyson Baggett.
You could make a case that they didn't really need to throw him the ball, but the fact that he was completely uninvolved. Honestly, dude.
89% of the snap share.
Honestly, I cannot play Cole Kmet. Actually, I'm sorry. You're averaging 1.5 targets per game in the last 2 weeks.
Look, I get it.
I
get it.
Rough, and I don't want the tight end premium to sway me too much here.
That can change with just 3 catches.
It could. It totally could. It's a tough question.
He can score the exact same amount of points of the 5 targets that JSN could potentially get.
You're right. You're definitely right. It's Foreman, Edwards, and JSN for me.
Okay. I'm going Foreman, Kmet, and Edwards.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps. So if you have
just
another question
through quickly that we saw Downs really successful versus this defense last week out of the slot. I think we'll see JSN in that a little bit this week.
And the throwback jerseys too is gonna look nice.
Dude,
come on.
I want one of those. I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I want that throwback Seahawks.
Yeah, look
jersey.
good, feel
good.
It is
clean.
It is.
That should be their uniforms for real. Like that should not be. That should be your uniforms.
There are some teams that their throwback jerseys are better than their current ones, and it should be their
Seahawks are one of them for sure.
Yep.
100%. Another one here. Start 2. Need 1 running back. Hunt, Brian Robinson, OBJ, Josh Reynolds, Sky Moore. I think it's the 2 running backs, Hunt and Brian Robinson, right?
It is the 2 running backs, 100%.
Sit 2 between Saquon, Breece, Gibbs, Taylor, Walker. Good Lord.
Really shallow lead. Thanks for all your help. Oh my goodness.
It's like, hey, sit 2 of these top 10 running backs.
Ooh, boy.
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea at all.
I would say this. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think all these guys can score you 15 plus points coming into this week. I think you really have to nitpick and find these matches that you like. I think
if I had to choose, it'd be JT and Gibbs, but I can't believe that's even something that I'm saying. But
no, and that's true. Like that's exactly. Yeah, I'm starting to say Saquon, Breece, and Walker with their matchup. But appreciate you, dope. Our next question here is Purple Yoda. He said, "Bad weather in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Should I sit Ridley now?" or replace him with Christian Watson or Michael Thomas, full PPR. Thanks, fellas.
So I know how I'm playing this, but go ahead.
I think we spoke about this. It depends on the weather coming up into the game. If it's nice, I think it depends on what you need. You need a high upside or safe floor. I will still be going Christian Watson over Michael Thomas, but me too.
If you're pivoting, it's Watson.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is a good safe floor if you do need that security. So hopefully that helps.
We'll take a quick second, a real quick second here, and just for new people who are on the stream with us, it's getting to that point of the year where weather is becoming a real thing we should discuss. And there were 3 games in particular today that we wanted to tell you guys that just monitor, and if it truly is as bad as they're projecting, then be open to pivoting off of some of these options. So Jets, Giants, 89% chance of rain. So definitely consider pivots, if this is truly bad. The one that concerns me the most is the Jaguars at the Steelers. 97% chance of rain. There's going to be some wind as well. So that could really limit the passing game. And the other game that you need to keep track of is the Chiefs at Broncos. It is going to be negative. Sorry, not negative. It'll be freezing temperature, and there's potential for snow. So those are 3 games to keep track of. It doesn't mean that you automatically sit Kirk. It doesn't mean you automatically sit Ridley or Pickens or, Rashee Rice. But if there's a pivot option, keep close to the news. And if it is as bad as they're projecting, then make sure you have a pivot ready to go. So just something that we wanted to make sure we told everyone, we told the masses, if you will. But yeah,
absolutely,
it would be Watson for me if it is bad for Ridley.
Yeah. All right, next question here. It says, would you start DK or Higgins on flex PPR this week? I'm personally going Higgins over DK.
Same. Like the matchup better. And yeah, I mean, if people want to shade T. Higgins, Metcalf has been completely mid and healthy. So, well, he's been dealing with injury, but he's been playing.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully you get
he's
what I
been
mean.
playing. Yeah. Hi, Andrea. How you doing?
What's up?
Just Flo says Evan Ingram or Dalton Schultz this week. I think due to weather as well, if it's terrible, you pivot to Dalton. If not, Evan Ingram. I think we'll both agree there.
Yeah. And I almost feel like Ingram is like a safer play than a Ridley because of the short usage.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I can agree there.
But yeah, I would only pivot to Schultz if it's truly bad.
But Dalton has been not bad for the past couple weeks. I mean, I think scored a touchdown in the last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
My personal opinion on that, and I could be wrong, is that has a lot to do with Tank Dell not being available.
That could 100% be fair. So keep that in mind. Henry said full PPR, Stevenson or Jacobs.
Jacobs,
man. Yeah, you have to start Jacobs. He has one of the toughest matchups, I do believe, but Jacobs. I can easily see Stevenson outscoring him. Tony
Same.
Hill, Javonte Williams or Foreman or Jacobs, I'm assuming. This would be Jacobs.
Yeah.
For us. Gerald, hello, Carr, Love, Minshew. I'm going
Love for me.
Love. Yeah, I'm going Jordan Love. I just want to double check Gardner Minshew. Keep playing the Saints. It's a tough matchup there, technically. Nick, Josh Palmer if healthy or Terry. Gonna be Terry here, but very, very close. Anthony, 10-man PPR, looking like 3 and 5, loading, not sure what to do, but I have, okay, let's trade one for high-end wide receiver. If I had to trade one, I'm trading Josh Jacobs, personally. But
I would still be looking to trade Swift of those 3.
And that's fair.
Just because Gainwell is going to eat into work. I know it would be more efficiency for Swift behind that offensive line, but overall, I just feel like volume plays towards the end of the year. When the weather gets cold, volume plays for those running backs like Jacobs. So Swift is who I'd be trading away. Keep in mind, guys, we don't really break down like every player you could potentially trade for, just because there's so many options, so many different, people who have different opinions in your league. So
exactly.
Ricardo says, would you accept a trade for Bijan, CD for Kamara McLaurin? I want Bijan and CD.
Yeah, I'll take Bijan and CD as well.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Ulysses S. Grant. Shout
start
out to him.
Zay, DJ Moore, Jacoby. I mean, that is a tough one. It is a flex league. It would be Jacoby Myers for me, though.
Standard, yeah. I'm going Jacoby Myers as well. DJ Moore, very, very close in this lineup there, but Jacoby feels safer in the standard league. Yeah. Office Depot, what's up, people? PPR, Dameon Pierce or Darrell Henderson. I'm going Dameon Pierce. Not sure where you would go.
Still Henderson for me. And it's just because I don't have questions about his opportunities in that backfield. And I think the most likely scenario, again, I want to be really clear on it, is the most likely scenario is that Dameon Pierce retakes the backfield. But just knowing that he didn't have the backfield the last time that this team played leaves me a little bit concerned. So knowing that Darrell Henderson leads that backfield and, he's going to get the goal line opportunities, it would lead me to start Darrell Henderson. But I can understand either way. Yeah. By the way, 90 people watching, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We are answering your questions from top to bottom.
Appreciate you.
A couple things. don't put your questions in more than once, so we'll put you in timeout. Okay, we'll just try and be patient. We're trying to get through as many questions as we can. And if you do want your questions answered straight away, super chats are an option, not compulsory, just an option. And last thing is, go ahead and do us a favor and smash that like button for us. Help us get to 75. 25 likes away from 75. Hit that like button for us. As we help you, you can help us. Volpe is the next question. He's here. What's up, PPR, Christian Kirk or Jordan Addison? And let's start there. It would be Addison for me.
Yeah, it would be Addison for me as well.
And the next one is Rashawn or DeMarcado. And
oh man, they're so close.
Yes, they are
currently
very
right
close.
now. Currently right now, they're 2 spots ahead. They're two spots apart. Excuse me. I do have DeMarcado ahead of Roscoe, but you know, with the game plan, it can go either way here.
Yeah, I'm definitely going DeMarcado as well, and I think he's game script proof in my opinion. If they're up, they'll use him. If they're down, he'll get work through the air.
Exactly. Where it has to be one way for Roscoe.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully that helps.
Mickey Mike is the next one. Lawrence at Pittsburgh with rain. Forecasted our car at Indy playing in a dome. I will say this, like, this is a pivot option for me if it really, really is awful. Like, if you wake up tomorrow and you're watching everyone needs to be tuned into pregame, by the way. Like, you cannot rock up. You cannot be out. Well, you do whatever you want with your life. But, like, you cannot be out and be getting home 5 minutes before game time and get ready to set your lineup. Like, you will probably put yourself in a bad situation if you do that. You need to be awake and, you know, looking at news reports and weather reports and tuning into the game, see what the expectations are.
How deep are you pivoting, though? I think that's the bigger question.
It really depends on how bad it is. If it's just light rain, I'll start Trevor Lawrence here. If it's pouring down and it's like they can barely see out there because of how much rain is, you know, like, yes, I will go Carr. If it's that bad, you can barely see anything, I would start Geno. I would start Sam Howell. I would start Jordan Love. I would start Matt Stafford. I would start maybe even Ritter, as crazy as that sounds. So it depends on how bad it is. But if it's just like there's some rain, then I wouldn't pivot. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Completely agree. We did get a couple super chats. Thank you so much for your question there, Smokey. Russian, thank you so much for your super chat.
Yes.
He said Stroud or Love starting there. I'm going CJ.
Same. I'm with you.
And then Foreman, Javonte, or Singletary. I think this is where I will be going Deontay Foreman.
Yes, I would also be going Deontay Foreman there. I think that is the best option. But don't sleep on Javonte this week. I know it's a bad offense, but he could get a large workload if the weather is bad. But yeah, Stroud, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Stroud versus Bryce Young. Some comments made earlier in the week by Frank Reich. I don't understand why people give free bulletin board material out to opposing teammates before games, but Frank Reich did that.
I feel like Frank is already in the hot seat already, and he's just... I mean, reports are saying that he's in the hot seat, which is crazy because he's been great in developing quarterbacks and being this head coach.
I think the way he left Indy would have left some scars, and, like, you really kind of need to give yourself some time. I'm not sure that he gave himself enough time away from coaching to be in the right headspace the way it all fell apart in Indianapolis.
He was out, what? He was out 2 years, wasn't he?
No.
Was it 2 years?
Dude, last year he was coaching the Colts at this time.
Was that last year?
Yes.
Right, because they fired him and then it was Jeff Saturday. Oh my gosh, that felt like 2 years ago.
I know. It's crazy, right?
That is wild. Anyways, we did get another...
Anyway, that's not...
It genuinely felt like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, only one. What stash would you prefer, Mims, Mingo, or Douglas?
I love all these guys, man. I've talked about them on my stash series, multiple videos. Here's what I'll say. Pop Douglas based off of play. Based off of play alone in the eye test. Pop Douglas is the most exciting player here.
100%.
However, based on the fact that the Panthers just had a bye week, they changed play caller, and they spent a second-round pick on Mingo. They want to see what they have. He's been heavily involved, playing over 80-90% of the snaps. I would say Mingo would be my number one there. Now, the caveat here is you get a notification on Monday Night Football when all the players are locked that Jerry Jeudy's been traded, then you're like,
exactly.
oh shit, everyone's about to pick up Marvin Mims. So without knowing the future, it would be Mingo for me.
All these guys, I would say, are valuable to stash. You just have to find out which one we could have the highest value coming into this year. Personally, I think that's going to be Mingo. I think he gets work into this offense more. But
yeah,
it can go either way. Thank you so much for the super chat, though, Brian. We did get another one from Russian.
Thank you.
He said, yeah, thank you so much. He said, do I start Watson, Garrett Wilson, Kirk, Laporta, need 3. Already started Kincaid at tight end, but can start 2 tight ends. Okay, so great start in Kincaid, of course.
Yeah.
So now starting 2, Garrett Wilson and Kirk Cousins, 2 players that are going. Christian Kirk, sorry. Garrett Wilson and Christian Kirk, 2 players going into this weather game.
So let's answer this 2 ways. Let's answer this the first way: weather is not an issue. If weather is not an issue, it would be Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk, and for me, Sam Laporta. Now, if weather is an issue, it would be Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Sam Laporta. Because if there's any matchup that's heavily impacting the game with weather, from what I understand, it's the Steelers-Jags game. So that's how I would play it. There's 2 different scenarios here.
Yeah. I think whichever weather is worse, I guess like Zach is saying, I would be going there. My initial thought process is like Christian Kirk if both weathers are terrible. And I just need somebody to get targets. I think Christian Kirk will probably be the guy that feels a lot more confident with his quarterback play. So hopefully that helps their Russian, but I can completely understand.
There's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of context to start sits this week. I mean, you really need to be on top of it and watching the pregame, guys. All of us do.
Yeah.
Lewis is the next question. That's not a super chat. Thank you for all those super chats, guys. From top to bottom, here we go. Lewis, start Olave, Jacobs, or T. Higgins. This would be Olave for me.
Yeah, it'd be Olave as well going against the Colts here this week.
Yeah, let's hope for a bounce back game for him. I don't know. I mean, every once in a while, you know, someone gets in trouble or something happens. It feels like maybe the coaching staff gives him a little confidence. Hey, let's show a little love. You know, let's try and get him that confidence back, his mojo back. But over 100 people watching the stream, guys. Can you help us get to 75 likes? Just a very simple way for you to help this channel grow is by hitting the like button. We are currently 15 likes away from 100. So if you have yet to hit it, go ahead and do us a favor and hit that like button for us. We're going top to bottom. Super chats get answered straight away. The next one is Andrea. Need 2 Bijan, Pacheco, Mostert, Stevenson. That is very difficult to answer. What I will say is my initial reaction is Bijan and then Pacheco.
Yeah, I think one for sure is Bijan, and I think what's really interesting here is that Pacheco and Mostert are really close with each other.
Same, yeah.
But I'm going based off matchup. I think either whether or not the weather is bad, they're still going to run the ball. And Pacheco and the Broncos do give a lot of points to the running back position. So Bijan and Pacheco for me as well. They also had another question here: Chris Olave or Devonta Smith? I'm still going Devonta Smith. Not sure where you're going.
Oh yeah, it's been Olave for me. So I'll still do that. Again, haven't heard anything that I haven't heard anything that Olave's not gonna have his normal role. So
I haven't heard anything either. I'm still just going based off matchup, based on players I believe. These guys are still in the same tier for me, so hopefully that helps. Donald Smith, Jalen Warren, or Chuba Hubbard. You know, a lot of people in the fantasy community are saying Chuba Hubbard is a good start this week. I don't see how, because personally, I don't see how, because the only game they're really going based off of is the game that Miles Sanders wasn't in.
I get that.
And I'm not discrediting Chuba. I'm just saying, like, with Miles in, does it revert back to that? And with the reports, it's going to be a 50-50 backfield.
Yeah, right? you're right in the sense of, like, Hubbard, his only good game came when Miles Sanders was out, and I can understand. I think the reason for optimism is there really hasn't been a good matchup for these running backs. Atlanta, New Orleans, Minnesota, which sounds like a good matchup. They're one of the worst this year. Detroit. Most of these matchups have been really, really bad for this backfield. Now you get the Houston Texans, who are not as bad as they once were, but still a fine matchup. And I think the belief from people is that Chuba has earned more opportunities. I think that's why people are in. What I will say is it's very close, and I can understand either way, you go here. I'm leaning Chuba. I just think there is more juice from the running back spot in the Panthers than what we have seen from the Steelers.
Yeah,
but it's not a confident answer. It's just based off of matchup, based off what he's shown us. So yeah.
And that's exactly where I'm going with Jaylen Warren.
Okay.
I don't have the confidence in Chuba. Jaylen Warren, we've seen that it's been 50-50 throughout the whole season. If Miles Sanders comes back and he's healthy, I'm not sure I can tell you that Chuba is going to get 50% of the workload. So
sure.
Hopefully we'll wait and see.
We did just get a super chat, so let's make sure we prioritize that and get to it straight away from Connor. Thank you for the donation, man.
Appreciate
Start 3, London, Higgins, Smith, Moore, Addison, Flowers. That is an extremely difficult question to answer. Because these guys are all like in a similar tier for me. What I would say is the guys who stand out, Addison, firstly.
Yes.
He's got to be in that starting lineup, in my opinion. Devonta Smith, and then Zay Flowers. But I really don't want to sit DJ Moore either.
Man, all these guys.
I got to get DJ Moore in there somehow. And I haven't really come up to this question yet this week. I really love these streams because it really challenges your rankings. I haven't come up to the Devonta Smith, DJ Moore question yet. And here we are. I really actually, they were back-to-back in my rankings. I'm going DJ Moore there. So that is Addison, Flowers, DJ Moore for me. I know Devonta Smith could have a great game, but I would say we could all agree DJ Moore is more pivotal to his offense than Devonta Smith, unfortunately, as we've seen this year.
You're starting Devonta Smith. Sorry. So you're starting.
I am starting Jordan Addison. I'm starting DJ Moore and Zay Flowers.
Okay. For me, it would be Jordan Addison, DJ Moore, and Devonta Smith. But I completely understand.
I get that.
Yeah, I completely understand why that would be.
I think Flowers has just been on the brink of a breakout, and whereas with Smith, it's like, is this guy ever getting involved? I feel like there's two different.
Yeah, I get you.
100% Smith could outscore Flowers, totally. But I feel better about where Flowers is within this team. Like, there's like this hope. It's like always on the brink of a breakout. Whereas with Devonta, it's like, can you get him the ball, please? It's like you are begging that team. When Zay gets the ball, it's like, oh, that's fun to watch, But you are begging the Eagles to get Devonta the ball. But I understand. It's a very, very close call. So we are answering questions from top to bottom, guys. Super chats get prioritized there. But the first question from top to bottom that we have here is from Andrea. Need one. Rice, Downs, Bourne, Tank, Dell, half PPR. And with the news of Kansas City potentially being a snow game, that has actually moved Josh Downs ahead of Rashee Rice for me.
I'm going Downs.
So it'll be Josh Downs for me here.
Yeah, completely agree. Crime Lord, hey guys, full PPR, Ridley or Watson? Ridley if the weather's okay, Watson if it's absolutely terrible.
100%, that's how I'm playing it.
Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud. I'm going CJ here. I think regardless of the weather, I feel really confident in that matchup personally, so hopefully that helps. Rich, you say, yo boys, I hope you boys doing well. Thank you so much. Need help. I have Gibbs, Pollard, Kamara, and Mostert as running backs. Okay, what's the question here? Need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex of the 8. So you want us to set your lineup essentially. Kamara and Pollard for me. And then wide receivers would be Puka and Wilson if the weather's not crazy. If not, I'm going Zay Flowers over Christian Watson. And at the flex, I'll go Gibbs.
So I was reading the question while you were answering, so I don't remember what you answered. But if I'm looking at this correctly, it would be Kamara, Pollard. A wide receiver would be Puka, and for me, it would be Zay Flowers regardless. and then he needs a flex. So I can only choose one now. Would be Gibbs.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. That's
Andrea says Ferguson or Schultz. Ferguson has a great bounce back opportunity this week. And we will find out if Dalton Schultz is for real or not with Tank Dell back. What I will say is based off of what we have seen as of lately, it would be Dalton Schultz for me.
Yeah, it would be Dalton Schultz. I mean, if we think about it, Tank Dell only missed one game.
He missed two.
In those last 3 games.
I don't think so, dude.
He didn't play in week 6, and then he had a bye week.
Well, in week 5, he only played 30% of the snaps.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
But I am going Schultz.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Schultz as well.
We did just get a donation, but
okay, yes, let's go there.
So let's get to that straight away. Thank you for the donation, Tim Brooks, aka Gar's son, or daddy, who knows. Rest of season: Cowboys, Browns, D. Rest of season, probably the Cowboys. I mean, but you're really tossing up a coin here and saying heads or tails.
Yeah, and I think it's all based off matchup. You know, I think Cowboys still needs to play the Eagles twice. And I don't even know who else they play, to be honest. That's off the top of my head because they're in the division. Browns have to play the Steelers again. They have to play the Browns. Or they are the Browns, excuse me. You stupid.
I get it.
It's just up in the air, brother.
Cowboys
yeah,
for me.
I'll pick Cowboys
if
I had
close.
to.
The other thing he says is Tajay Spears or AJ Dillon. Even if, like, I know there's reports coming out right now that Derrick Henry is not being traded. That to me does not say it's not happening at all. I still think there's a chance. Now, clearly it's not a 50% chance like we thought. It's more of like a 20-80% chance. But still, I think Tajay is the better long-term upside stash there if you have to choose between one.
Yeah, I would agree. If I had to stash one this week, if I had to stash one long term, it's Tajay. But if I had to start one this week, it would be Najee or AJ Dillon. Excuse me.
Yeah, I understand that. But yeah, we're both long term saying Tajay, right?
Yes, Tajay long term, absolutely.
All right, you love to see it. We just got a donation from True Silva, but no question. I see another donation down there, so we'll get to we'll get to True Silva because he donated it first and then didn't have a comment. So let's get to his real quick. DeAndre Swift or Pacheco rest of season. It's really close. It is very, very close. What I will say is I believe that the run game is more important to the Eagles, and it's a better offensive line than it is to the Chiefs. In game scripts where the Chiefs need to throw the ball, they will throw the ball more than what they have so far. So it's close. You have to kind of be critical here. You can make a case either way, but it'll be Swift for me.
Yeah, it was Swift for me as well. And I think what's good about Swift is that he is not getting this 70+% of workload. Like, he's still getting 60% or less and still being efficient, which is great. So give me Swift as well.
So the next super chat that we had was from Kiwi. So thank you for the donation, man. Over there in New Zealand. You love to see it. Half PPR 2 quarterback league, need to play 3 players. So half PPR 2 quarterback. Sam Darnold. Well, let's start there. Sam Darnold will not play. Brock Purdy did clear concussion protocol, so Sam Darnold would get you 0 points unless there's an injury to Brock Purdy, which we can't really predict. So let's rule him out, but he needs 3 players: Dobbs, Mixon, Ford, Rashawn, Deonta Foreman, Jeff Wilson. Well, let's start here. I think you start Josh Dobbs. Anytime you got a chance to start a quarterback who's got rushing upside, you start him. That's Josh Dobbs. So that's 1. And now we need to choose 2 more players. It would be Amari Cooper. And, man, this is tough. I really feel like you could go 4 different ways here.
Yeah, you can go. I feel like there's a lot of context missing as well here. Like, you're asking, I'm assuming this is an 8-man league or something.
I don't think so. I mean, these are tough options, but they're not superstars that he's.
Yeah, and I think it's just the context that we're not getting is like, okay, like, who are you already starting? Because I feel like there are, how many players did he put? There's 8 players that he's asking out of 3 that he needs to play 3. So who is not playing? Like, who does he have playing already? But yeah, I think it's Josh Dobbs. I'm going Joe Mixon. I'm going Jerome Ford if he plays over Joe Mixon, but I'll start Joe Mixon over Roscoe and Deonta Foreman, and Jeff Wilson this week.
So for me, this would be Dobbs, Mixon, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and Amari Cooper. That's where I was gonna go.
So your three is Dobbs,
Mixon, Amari Cooper.
Okay, so that's where we're leaning, but be aware that this is a very difficult one to answer because they all have similar upside. But hopefully that helps, my man. He says starting Trevor Lawrence, Puka, and Gibbs. He said that down here, so
okay.
Hopefully that is helpful, my brother. But the next question is from the professor. It's a donation. Thank you. 10 people, full PPR. You're 5-2. Wide receivers to start this week. Nico Collins, Watson, Lockett, Downs, and okay. So I guess we have to choose one because it's a 10-team league. That would be Nico Collins for me here.
Ooh. Yes, it will be Nico. Sorry, I'm just looking at my rankings here. Josh Downs is actually back-to-back, 2 spots, with Nico.
Okay.
Because I do believe he is essential to this offense. But yes, give me Nico Collins, as well. And he says Jets or Dallas D. I'm going Dallas.
Yeah, we'll go Dallas. I was just thinking about the weather in New York. If that could cause some chaos, but
it can cause I will go Dallas still. Chaos. Yeah, it could definitely cause some chaos. It just depends on how we all.
Sorry, it sounded like someone started using a leaf blower or something outside. So.
No, you're good. Our next super chat here in order is from Connor C. Thank you so much for the super chat. He's a Trevor Lawrence or Jordan Love. All depends on the weather, brother. If the weather's terrible, for Trevor Lawrence, we're starting Jordan Love with confidence. I think it's a good pivot move. If the weather turns out to be fine, or if it's drizzling a little bit, I think I'm still going Trevor Lawrence. But yes. I think you really need to understand
if it
how
truly
bad
is,
the weather is.
If it truly is terrible weather, then you pivot to Love. But if you're here in the pregame and it's like weather not as bad as we once thought, it will drizzle, but it's not a big deal, then you stay with Trevor. So hopefully that is helpful. The next super chat is from Anthony. Thank you for the donation, man. We'll get to this straight away. DeAndre Swift, Pickens for Ridley, James Conner. I would rather have Swift and Pickens. What about you?
Agreed. Completely agree. Swift
and
Pickens for me.
It's unfortunate because if it is a rainy game, then Ridley owners are just going to be even more confused after this week because we won't really know
how to start him or
what their intentions are at all, because it'll be a bad game and then a weather game. So that's a tough call. By the way, guys, over 140 people watching the stream. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Can you do us a favor and smash that like button? We are currently just 23 likes away from 100. Help us reach that century mark. 100 likes would be awesome. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, go ahead and do that for us. As we help you, you can help us out in return. We're going from top to bottom, answering questions. The only time we go out of order is if there's a super chat. The next one is from Andrea. Need one. Josh Palmer, Addison, Garrett Wilson.
Addison.
You're going Addison. I would go Addison as well.
Yeah.
Crime Lord says full PPR, flex 2, Josh Palmer, Warren, Henderson, and Miles.
Palmer if he plays. And
Henderson for me.
I'm still going Miles, but I understand.
Yeah. Palmer and Henderson for me. I cannot trust Miles right now.
I understand. Hunt or Henderson. Hunt either. Yeah, Hunt without Ford or with Ford. That's what I'm going to say.
It would be Henderson for me if Ford plays.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big caveat there, because if Ford plays, right now we're looking at the matchup and saying, okay, matchup is better for Kareem Hunt. They both, between Kareem Hunt and Darrell Henderson, they both have similar roles. But if Ford joins, then that changes the role a lot for me.
I understand.
What's up, Albert?
Question,
welcome in.
I think it's Bay Diamonds. Dak, Dobbs, Pickett, Wilson in Superflex. I have to drop one. I'm thinking Dobbs with Murray back probably next week. Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, do you have to drop him now?
Sounds like he has to.
You know,
it would be Dobbs for me.
It would be Dobbs as well. So hopefully that helps. Smooth Life, I gave up Devontae Adams, Kirk Cousins, and Sam Laporte, and I got Justin Jefferson. Okay. I don't think that was really. I think it's just a statement. Just looking
I
for the
think he's just
questions
looking
here.
for some feedback. He says I gave up Adams,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, Laporta, got Jefferson, Jalen Hurts, Kyle Pitts. Record is 2-5. I love this deal. The issue is that you're 2-5. So your team is now technically worse than it was. And I don't think Jefferson's back in the next 2 weeks. I could be wrong, but there's a good chance that you lose and you're out of the playoffs before you even get Jefferson back.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
that is going to be potentially an issue for you. Just want to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We did just get some super chats, so let's prioritize those people. Connor,
Okay.
what's up? Laporta or Waller? This would be Laporta for me. What about you?
Yeah, it'd be a Laporta for me as well.
Prime 8 plays. Thank you for the donation, man. Very, very kind to you. He says, should I swap Hawkinson and Devonta for Brees given my lineup? So I'm assuming he would trade Hawkinson and Devonta Smith for Brees Hall. And his lineup, he currently has Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Montgomery, Achane, Javonte, Tajay, Puka, CD, Nico, and Laporta.
So should I swap Hawkinson and Devonta for Brees? So you're trading this?
So you would lose Hawkinson, but you still have Laporta.
Okay.
What I would try and do instead is I would try and swap Hawkinson and Laporta. That would feel much, much better.
What do you mean?
But
swap them, like trade, like
yeah, as in
you would rather trade Laporta?
I would rather trade Laporta away than Hawkinson. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. It is close, but yeah. If you could make it Laporta instead of Hawkinson, I like that deal. Because I'm assuming you have at least. Here's the issue though. You got CMC. You got Monty, you got Achane. All those guys, when healthy, are must starts.
Exactly.
Now you're putting Brees Hall in here.
Exactly.
I think the better move for you is actually to do this for a wide receiver rather than a running back. Can you go get a CeeDee Lamb? Oh, you already have CeeDee Lamb. Can you go get a Chase? Can you go get a?
I think if your record is good,
Amon-Ra.
I mean, I think if your record is good, this is where I would go get Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
you know,
good point.
If you're 6-1, Justin Jefferson will probably be somebody I'll be targeting. Yeah, and Amon-Ra, all those guys along those lines, I'm happy to get somebody that you can start. The thing is, you wanna. This looks like maybe a 2 wide receiver in the flex, and you're starting Nico.
Yeah, I imagine based on my answer that you have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex.
Yeah, and like that's where you want to upgrade. You want to, as much as great Nico's been, you want to upgrade from Nico. You know, can you get a Devontae Adams? Can you get an Amon-Ra? Can you get a Jacoby Myers? Can you get a Jordan Addison?
That would be an overpay in my eyes. Hawkinson and Devonta for Addison.
Sure, I'm just saying, like, you want. It doesn't have to be that specifically. I'm just thinking of that because Devonta Smith was the guy that you were starting over Nico with confidence, but that's not confidence.
No, I hear you. I think if you're gonna move those players, you need a Chase, Amon-Ra, a Keenan, a Diggs, and AJ. What I will say is this answer changes if you have like 3 flex spots. You know, so if you're telling me, hey, if I make this deal, I can start CMC, I can start Monty, I can start Achane and Brees Hall, then yeah, go get Brees Hall here. So that's when the answer changes.
Hopefully that helps, Prime. Thank you so much for the super chat. We did get another one here from Jay Steele. Appreciate you guys. He said pick one wide receiver for wide receiver 2 slots. Higgins, Collins, Waddle. Okay, let's start there. Higgins, Collins, and Waddle.
Waddle for me.
Yeah, it'd be Waddle for me as well. Decent matchup here against the Patriots. Then he said pick 1 running back for the RB2 spot. Hall or Gibbs.
Hall.
I'm going Brees Hall as well. Pick 1 flex from the rest of the list. Thank you. So Higgins, Collins.
So for me, altogether, Waddle, Brees Hall, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you for
we got another one from Arthur. He said flex 1 PPR Ridley Pierce or Ramondre Stevenson.
Whew. This is Ramondre for me, assuming that the weather is bad for Ridley. And, you know, I made a hot take on one of my videos this week that Ridley was going to bounce back. That was before any of us really knew how bad the weather could be. So, again, with new information, you have to adjust. If the weather truly is that bad, then Ramondre Stevenson for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. Ramondre Stevenson, Arthur, you have to be, glued to your TV at least 30 minutes before understanding what are those context of those games.
I'll say this, even with even knowing now that there's a chance that the weather is bad, I would permanently pivot to Stevenson.
Okay. He said need one running back, one flex, Chuba Hubbard, Rashawn, Tajay Spears, Lockett, and Downs. I think one for sure would be Downs for me at the flex spot, and at the running back spot, it's between Roscoe and Chuba for me. And at the moment, I do have Chuba ahead of Roscoe.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
so I'm with you there as well.
It would be Chuba, Chuba and Downs at the running back and flex spot there. Arthur, thank you so much for the super chat. Arthur Meyer's show, by the way, love the show. I've never seen it.
I'm sure it's a fantastic show. I have no doubts. Looks
I'm
like
sure it is
a very, very cool guy. Appreciate
Combat
the love.
Cash Club, Triple C's.
The first rule of Combat Cash Club is that you don't talk about Combat Cash Club.
Yeah,
okay.
You love to see it. I'm assuming 12 team PPR, 2 flex, pick 1 running back.
Okay, so 2 flexes and 1 RB2, but
so I'm assuming
I guess the question is just choose between Javonte or Foreman. Right?
Or Foreman, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like, Javonte. That was very confusing.
That was hard to understand there for a second, but
Javonte Williams or Foreman here. These guys are really close as well. I am going to be going Foreman in this scenario. I'm not sure where you would go.
Dude, I honestly want to give like a
chance for Javonte.
I want to give a good answer, but I don't know the answer to this one. If I had to choose, it would be Gianta, but that is a very, very tough one. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful. Thank you so much for the donations. I think that is caught up with all the super chats. By the way, 8 likes away from 100. So if you have yet to hit that like button, we only need 8 people to do it to hit that century mark. We appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. We'll go top to bottom here, and super chats get prioritized. Sets is the next one. He says Javonte, Rashawn, Henderson, or Spears as RB2 this week. This would be Darrell Henderson for me.
Sets, where are you? I'm so lost.
I skipped a couple people. My bad.
You didn't go all the way up here.
Just to answer this question, it is Henderson.
Javonte, Roscoe, Henderson. Yeah, this one will be Henderson. Yes, I have Henderson over Roscoe and Javonte.
So I'm looking at the next question, and I think it's from the Daysful. It says, would you start D-Hop, Samuel, or Osborne? Good question. I think Curtis is my answer here.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel for me as well.
Mr. Forte says start 2, Bijan, Rashad, Hubbard. Well, Rashad White's already played, so hopefully you've already put him in your lineup.
Yeah, if not, you're going Bijan and Chuba. You know your answer there. That helps.
But Bijan and White would be my option. But, I mean, if White wasn't already in your starting lineup, he's locked in your bench. Isaac, what's up, man? He says, considering the weather, should I stick with Kirk or go with Pittman full PPR? Pittman plays in a dome, so I would, to me, if the weather is bad, I'm going Pittman. I also think there's a chance that this is like a let's make Michael Pittman happy game, because he was not happy last week with his involvement. So, yeah.
Yeah, could definitely be the case.
Holt Toast says half PPR, 1, I guess, flex.
Well, why? I mean, lately people have been putting RTW. Why is that?
Running back, wide receiver, tight ends. But, I mean, you could just say flex, right?
Yeah.
And 3 wide receivers / tight ends, so there's no pure tight end slot. I think he's specifying because his league is one of those weird ones where you don't have to start a tight end.
That's fair.
And send this to your commissioner. Stop ruining the tradition of the game. All right?
We love tight ends.
You have to start a tight end. Yeah, it sucks, and that's what makes the game fun. No, jokes. I have Saquon and Derrick Henry starting. Makes sense. Currently have Madison as my flex, but debating between him and Goddard. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I assume you're saying Amon-Ra, Downs, and T. Higgins are already starting. But if they're not, you definitely start all those guys over Madison, but I assume they're already starting. But if I had the choice between Madison and Goddard, I would go Goddard, personally.
Yeah, I'm going Dallas Goddard. So
Yeah.
I would completely agree there.
Jake says, no questions this week, just hoping for a dub. Hope all is well.
Hey,
Same to you.
Love, brother.
Get the
Good
dub,
luck
man.
this week.
Tingley is the next one. Trading Pittman and Henry for Kupp. Would that be too much for Kupp? Got Swift, Saquon, Hunt, and Connor. Yeah, I would do this. I would get Kupp there.
I would agree.
It sounds. I mean, your running back room is definitely deep enough to lose Derrick Henry. So yeah. Down goes Fury. I didn't even know they were fighting yet, but apparently they are. That has to be like the least publicized and marketed fight of all time. I didn't even know it was happening. T-Man, what's up? He says, traded CD and Stevenson for Chase and Gibbs. Good trade. Let's start there. CD and Stevenson for Chase and Gibbs. I would rather have Stevenson than Gibbs long term because it's still my belief, regardless of what all the people who drafted Gibbs are saying, because you can tell when you make a video, Badaki, who drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and who has neither and is like rationally looking at this situation.
Yeah.
It's still my belief that Montgomery is keeping the same role that he had when he's healthy, regardless of how good Gibbs plays.
Yeah, I agree as well. I did bring Gibbs as a sell high opportunity here. CD and Stevenson. I think Chase and CD are even. I think Stevenson has the better long-term, safer floor.
Well, the way I was actually looking at it is I feel like Chase is an upgrade over CD. I definitely feel that way. And I feel like he's as much of an upgrade as Stevenson is over Gibbs. So in a way, it is kind of even. And if you're not relying on Jahmyr Gibbs week in, week out, then I like the Chase side, but it's close.
That's fair. That's fair.
He says, do I start Josh Downs or Palmer behind Chase? This would be...
this would be Palmer if he plays, but you won't know that, unfortunately, so you might have to go Downs. For me.
It's Downs for me regardless, actually, when I look at it.
Okay. That's fair.
But I do think it's a close one. Gabriel, what's up, man? He says, start Henderson, Aaron Jones, or A.J. Dillon.
Ooh.
Aaron Jones for me.
This is tough, man, because I've said it earlier, and maybe you will hear Gabriel. I said, like, from the reports that we know, Aaron Jones doesn't look like he's 100%, and I don't think he's going to get a full percent of the workload.
This is Aaron Jones for me. I cannot sit him if these are my options. And I understand why.
I feel like we're just going to be so upset, with the reports and everything that, they say, and then start Aaron Jones, and then he doesn't perform, and it's like, well, shit, I should have started I feel like A.J. Dillon and Henderson have safer floors than Aaron Jones, but clearly Aaron Jones has a higher upside. I would be going A.J. Dillon here. I have A.J. Dillon one spot ahead of Henderson with the Aaron Jones news, but it's tough. I get it. I get starting Aaron Jones.
I'm going Aaron Jones. I just feel like the moment you say Aaron Jones, you're like, what the hell did I just sat Aaron Jones? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. I sat the guy who just got 20 points. So
yeah, I agree. It
is a tough one though. But we did just get a super chat from Chief Perp.
Appreciate you.
By the way, someone says, I think that's a bad take. Gibbs already had a role in that offense. I guarantee you this person has Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way. Guarantee you. Like, we can't even have like hey, Monty's probably going to have his role. It's like, no, that's not happening. It's like, all right, whatever. Anyway, Chief Perp, thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate you. Flex Flowers over Walker Jacobs this week based off of tough matchups.
Flex Flowers.
For them plus.
Zay Flowers.
No, I would start those running backs. I love Zay Flowers this week. I really do. I think he has a great matchup, but he's not going to touch the ball 20 times like these guys are. So, it would be Walker and Jacobs over Flowers for me.
Yeah, it'll be Walker and Jacob. I would say this. I think it's a lot closer with Zay Flowers and Jacobs. Jacobs has a tough matchup coming into this week against the Lions. Currently give the third least amount of points to the running back position. He's getting a lot of targets, which is great. But I think Zay Flowers, for me, it would actually be Walker and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers going against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited about starting Zay Flowers last week, and then they dominated the game, and he was unnecessary. You know, I just think regardless of matchup, Walker and Jacobs are going to get their touches.
And I mean,
I just don't
the
think
same could be said. I think the same could be said with Jacobs, though. Like, Jacobs was in a perfect opportunity to be game scripted to where he had a lot of opportunities, and he's still disappointed.
Sure.
You know, so I understand. I understand both ways. Hopefully that helps.
I just can't sit running backs with that kind of usage.
Yeah, I understand.
Because you'll sit Walker and then Jacobs will go off. It's just I don't think that you can do it, but it's just my personal opinion. Someone said, do they answer questions? Yes, guys, we do answer questions. Of course, we're going to prioritize people who donate. So keep that in mind. So the first question that we can see from top to bottom is from Joseph. Start Dameon Pierce or Kareem Hunt? It's Kareem Hunt for me.
I'm going Dameon Pierce there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going Dameon Pierce over Kareem Hunt. Whether Jerome Ford plays or not. I think the matchup is too good for Dameon Pierce to not be successful. And I know we have... Yeah, I'm still going Dameon Pierce.
Wow. I mean, okay, fair enough. That is a tough call. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
You know, Kareem Hunt steps into this team. In 2 weeks into the team, he has more points than Damien's put up all year.
Look, I understand, and I'm not disregarding like his usage or his workload or anything. I think if you look back at these opportunities, I think if I'm not mistaken, this is a tough road for the running back room with Dameon Pierce and the Texans. I think there was one week where he was like a good must start, and I think that was against the Colts early on that week, which clearly the Colts are a better team than what we expected, especially at that point with Anthony Richardson. I just think this is one of the best matchups for a running back. I think Dameon Pierce could have a massive bounce back week this week, and I agree, this is a high risk play. With Kareem Hunt here, especially with Jerome Ford not playing, I understand. But I can see Dameon Pierce really coming back and bouncing back and having those, 24, 20 plus touch type of games that we've seen. So I understand.
Fair enough. I understand. We did just get a super chat from Miguel. So what's up, Miguel? Who should I flex? Pierce, Nico, Myers, or Flowers? For me, this would be Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, it'll be Jacoby for me.
Yes. I mean, he's been very consistent and somehow is still not getting the respect that he does deserve.
What is he, a wide receiver 12 right now?
He's wide receiver 13, and he missed a week. So he's basically like if someone had a bye, and they're still wide receiver 13.
He missed a week, and he had a bad week.
Yeah. We did just get another super chat, so let's make sure we prioritize that. Shout out to Will. I have Kim Walker. Guy offered me Zay Flowers, Cooper. Zay Flowers, Cooper, or Flowers Pickens. I'm not accepting either of those.
Yeah, I want Kenneth Walker.
My team is Stroud, Devontae, Olave, Wilson, Jason, Tank, Walker, Swift, Pierce, Pacheco. Yeah, I mean, neither of those offers interest me one bit.
Yeah, I mean, you get rid of Kenneth Walker and tell me who you're starting at running back. Dameon Pierce and Pacheco, which, Kenneth Walker,
Swift,
what is he, top?
Swift and Pacheco.
Oh, you have Swift as well. Okay,
still.
So, I mean, look, if anything, I'm trying to sell somebody else. I'm trying to sell Pierce if he does have a good game this week. I'm trying to sell, I think I still want Swift long-term over Pacheco. I think I said that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, in general, you don't get better by selling the best player for depth. And that's kind of what you're doing here. I mean, so now you're going to go from being like, all right, Walker's in every start. I don't have to think about it. Every week he's starting. To now you're going to be like, all right, do I start Zay Flowers or Garrett Wilson? Like, you're just putting yourself in a tough position. And now every week a guy on your bench is going to potentially outscore the guy that you just traded for. So yeah, none of those offers interest me at all.
I would say this: if you did want to get rid of Kenneth Walker because he is the highest person on your team that you can get a lot of, I guess a lot of, what am I trying to say? He's worth the most on your team in the running back room. I'm looking at that caliber type of running back that I'm trying to, or wide receiver that I'm trying to get back. Because it looks like you're trying to get a running back, a wide receiver here, right? Kenneth Walker right now, running back 7 on the year. I need a big piece, and some of these things may sound absurd. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Puka.
Adams, yeah,
like,
yeah.
It sounds absurd, but that's the type of players that I want. I don't want a 2-for-1. I want a high caliber player that I feel comfortable that I can plug and play at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think the only names, like, if you trade Ken Walker away, a 2-for-1 is going to kill your team. It's just, that is not a good idea. And if you trade Ken Walker away, the only way you get better is if you get one of those elite guys, is if you get an AJ, a Stephon Diggs, a Keenan, an Amon-Ra, a Cooper Kupp, a Jamar Chase. If you're doing any 2-for-1s, or even if, in my opinion, even if you're doing an Adam Thielen or a Jacoby or a Chris Olave, like Mike Evans, any of those names, you are downgrading overall for your roster, especially with how difficult it is to find good superstar running backs. So, yeah, that is not the move I would make. And he's asking us who to start, but Will, you got to think about it. We don't know what your roster looks like, my man. We don't know how many starters you have, you know? How many people are you starting? How many running backs? How many wide receivers? How many flexes are there? So without knowing that information, all I can say is that Devontae Adams and Chris Olave absolutely have to start. Ken Walker, DeAndre Swift absolutely have to start. I don't know if you started Kincaid yet or not. So whichever one, if you started Kincaid, you know, you feel good about it. And if you didn't, he's on your bench and he's locked in, so you have to start Laporta. But Pacheco would probably be the flex of the names there. But again, I don't really know what his starting lineup looks like. But hopefully that is helpful, Will. Thank you for your donation, man.
Thank you so much, man. We did get another one from GV. Thank you so much for your super chat, GV. He said Lockett, Sutton, or Palmer have PPR. This one will be Palmer for me if he plays. I think you do have the opportunity to find out if he does play, because Broncos, Sutton plays in the second slate games, and so does Tyler Lockett. I would say this: if the weather is bad for Cortland Sutton, Hobby's going, and Josh Palmer doesn't play, I'm going Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I think it's Lockett for me either way.
Regardless, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But
so hopefully that helps, GV. We appreciate you and your super chat here.
Yes.
And
just so everyone knows what's happening, we're going from top to bottom. We are answering questions. Super chats do get priority, though. Killer Bro is the next one. He says, I traded CD and Dameon Pierce for Kamara. I think it really depends on what your wide receiver room looks like now, man. That is the bigger question. But without seeing it, I'm fine losing Dameon Pierce to get Kamara. Pump and Dump says, start CJ Stroud or Kirk Cousins this week. That's a good question.
Stroud still.
It is a very good question.
Close is very close. Kirk is a very, very close one here.
I think I'm going Kirk. I'm going Kirk. I'm just thinking about game script here. I would not be surprised if the Panthers... I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans didn't need to throw the ball. I'm not saying that they won't, because that's kind of the identity of their offense. But you can make the same case for Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, and I think it'll be a more competitive game. So I'll go Kirk there.
I actually think it'll be a more competitive game with the Texans and Panthers. I think Vikings can get away with the game.
What about the Panther season so far makes you feel that way?
I mean, we saw in the last 2 weeks. I mean, they compete. They just lose.
They lose by a lot.
Yeah, they. I mean, for example, I don't know. The
last 2 games were blowouts for them, but
yeah, I mean, against Detroit and Miami, no, they competed. They got away from that game in the second half. I don't know if you remember, like for both those games.
Yeah.
Like they were competing the first and second quarter, and there was blowout. Because both those teams did that. And it was the same thing with, if I'm not mistaken, the Seattle game, as well. Oh no, they went to overtime, I think, in the Seattle game. No, that was Detroit. Anyways,
Yeah, it was Andy Dalton
Coming off a
starting,
bye,
but, yeah.
coming off a bye, I would say coming off a bye, new play caller. I think they could compete, and I just feel a lot more confident
Okay.
in that game script than Kirk Cousins. But I understand. I think both are good starts. Hopefully that helps. It's a long-winded question. Joseph, Deontay Johnson, Josh Downs, or Devontae Adams? It would be Devontae Adams for the both of us.
Yeah, you
Still,
don't sit Devontae Adams.
hold toast Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence. I think we said this before. Trevor Lawrence, if the weather is okay. If not, you go Jordan Love. You pivot there. Sam, do I start really Deontay Johnson, Javonte Williams, or Tank Dell at the flex? You need to start one. Really, if the weather is decent, kind of like we talked about with Trevor Lawrence all week, and then I would be pivoting to. Normally I would pivot to Deontay, but if that weather is terrible, I'm going Tank Dell because they play each other. So hopefully that helps. I think Zach will probably say the same there. I think he would start Tank Dell over Javonte.
Yeah.
HQ, so Higgins is a must start. I'm assuming you guys are saying if the weather is bad for really, choose between Henderson or Bourne. If not, lock in really. I'm 2-5, need a dub. Who would you
Higgins
lean
is a must
towards?
start depending on your options. It's everyone's team is going to be different, you know. But
I'm going with a high upside here. HQ, that's what I would say. So if Calvin Ridley, weather is bad, I'm starting Higgins, and I'm going Kendrick Bourne, who currently has a higher upside than Henderson. It's a riskier play. Henderson has the safest floor, but Bourne has a higher upside here. You have to expect that, kind of like we've seen, like Zach was saying, Miami Dolphins games, one of the highest scoring offenses, they get away with the game, and it's a divisional game. They're going to have to try and compete and score early and often. So that's where I'll be going Kendrick Bourne.
For me, it would be Higgins and Ridley in the ideal world where the weather isn't as bad as we project. But if it is as bad, it would be Henderson for me. Again, just with the role that he was given last week, I think he has a better chance at a touchdown than Bourne.
Understood.
Brando says, who to start at my 2 flex spots? 12-man. Mixon, Stevenson, Pierce, Higgins, Palmer, Michael Thomas. This would be Higgins and Mixon for me. Actually, let me double check.
I think it'd be Higgins and Stevenson for me.
Yes, same. Higgins and Stevenson, yeah.
And then start Atlanta or Cleveland defense. Atlanta is a perfect start this week. I have Atlanta over Cleveland this week playing against the Titans. Unless Will Levis is a god, you expect Atlanta to have a field day.
Yeah.
Still love the Browns.
Myles Garrett, though.
I know, he is different. But I mean,
the hard
Will
thing
Levis
is
has to be amazing.
Sure. I mean, he could also just not turn the ball over, and they hold them down. You know, Derrick Henry does something, but
true.
He probably does turn the ball over. I don't know. This is tough for me. I mean, you look at the score from the Browns game last week. They gave up 38 points, and you're like, what the hell? I started the Browns defense, and then you look at fantasy, and you're like, oh wow, yeah,
no, the Browns
they gave me 20 points.
Yeah, the Browns did well by giving 38 points. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it would still be Cleveland for me. It's just I just can't sit what I believe to be a top 3 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, and I completely understand. Sets. He says start 4: Ridley, Lamb, Amari Cooper, Deontay, Kittle, Olave.
Let's make this easy. You start Lamb, you start Olave, right?
Yeah.
To me, if the weather isn't bad, put Ridley in there, and then we'll go Amari Cooper. Now, if the weather is bad, you can pivot to Kittle.
Yeah,
from those options.
From those options, I think I'm starting Kittle over Amari Cooper.
Okay.
With Debo out, so give me Olave, Kittle, Lamb, and obviously Amari Cooper over Ridley if the weather is truly bad. If not, it'll be Ridley.
I got Amari over Ridley. Regardless.
I would have Amari. I would have. Regardless now. Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say I would have Ridley, but you would have Ridley over. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm just confused. It clicked in my head just then. Makes sense.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Kyrus, next question.
I'm scared this week. It's Halloween, brother. We're all scared. But I'm not really scared because of things that scare traditional people. I'm more scared because of paying taxes, right? Because I'm a business and getting old. The fact that we're all just dying slowly every day.
Children.
Those are things that scare me when I wake up in the morning. What about you?
There you go. He actually, that's a genuine thing, guys. Zach fears, one of his biggest fears, death. We had this conversation.
Not death.
No,
I don't fear death.
Is it getting old?
It's getting old.
Getting old.
It's getting old to the point where I can't take care of myself, and I'm a vegetable living. That is hell to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like you can't function, so people help you function. Oh God, no. Like,
oh God, no.
Like,
I just remember.
Let me die before that happens.
I just remember, and Zach always tell the story. We went to Costco, had pizza, and we sat down, and Zach goes, look at that guy. And it's this old guy, like sitting down, like trying to eat his pizza. He's like, I never want to be like that guy.
that poor old man.
Just getting out. Want to be like him.
Getting out, going to the Costco. But yeah,
that probably took him a whole hour just to get there.
Probably.
You know.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't answer the question. I almost moved on. But PPR, one flex, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, Darrell Henderson. I'm not starting DeAndre Hopkins.
No, I'm going to Amari Cooper here.
Jeez, dude. I would go Amari Cooper if Jerome Ford plays.
Okay.
If Jerome Ford does not play, then I will go Kareem Hunt. Very, very close.
Makes sense.
Pickens or Mixon for the flex. This would be Pickens, unless the weather is bad.
Yeah. Scott Hoover, by the way. Shout out to Scott Hoover.
Yeah. Founder of the Hoover vacuum. Jonathan Cooper, start one for my flex, non-PPR. Ramondre, Tank Dell, or Darrell Henderson?
Non-PPR.
Yeah, because Ramondre's value really comes through the air, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This would be Henderson for me, dude.
In a non-PPR. Yeah, this would be Henderson for me in non-PPR. I'm right there with you.
Yep. Optimum, what is up, man? Optimus Prime
Gaming.
in the building. Rest of season, Dell or Cooks? I'll go Dell by a wide margin, actually, I'd say.
Brandon Cooks? Oh, yeah, no, Tank Dell, 100%.
Mr. Prune, shout out to Loki. Prune the branches. Start one, Higgins, Downs, Watson. This is Higgins for me.
Agreed.
John Curtis, full PPR, need one running back and one flex out of Ramondre, Javonte, Mixon, McLaurin, or Pittman.
One running back, one flex. I'm going Ramondre. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do have Ramondre over Mixon, and then a wide receiver, Terry or Pittman.
That's a true toss of the coin. It's Pittman for me right now.
That is a true toss. I was gonna go Terry.
They're back to back in my rankings. I just looked. Pittman's ahead for me. He's in the dome. I just value that a little bit when I'm making those decisions with what seems to be a weird weather week.
I think of game script, Eagles should be up. You expect Eagles actually give up the fourth most points to the wide receiver position.
There's something we should talk about that, though, quickly, because they just traded for one of the best safeties in coverage in the NFL. So that could be something that we can't rely on that much anymore.
Is he going to be ready, though?
Yeah. He'll play.
Like, is he playing with, like, a lot of snap percentages or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not that tuned into the Eagles, crew. I think
that's
everything
I would agree.
I see is him playing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, that plays a huge part into it. But yeah,
I think Mixon is definitely intriguing. But man, just when you think about upside though, like Mixon has not shown it, and maybe this is his yearly 40-point game, and we're missing out on it. But I mean, it's been the volume for sure, but like volume with Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs feels very different. It feels like two very different,
No, I understand.
So yeah, it is a tough, because maybe Mixon is the safer play, but that dude has been like Joe Mixon is the Michael Thomas of running backs this year. It's really been completely mid, and Michael Thomas had a breakout game. Not breakout, he's so old, but anyway, I just think the highest upside, if you want upside installed in your lineup, is Ramondre and Pittman.
And we've seen the 49ers struggle for the past two games, the past 2 weeks. Didn't Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt at least had a good safe floor when they played? I think Kareem Hunt, he found the end zone against the 49ers. If I'm not mistaken, Jerome Ford also had a double-digit game. It wasn't sexy.
Well, Akers and Madison looked really good against that defense last week, which is strange.
They didn't have the best outcome, but the way they played and looked on during the game was explosive.
You know what's crazy?
Fun.
Akers averaged 3.1 yards per attempt. He looked. But I'll say this as someone who liked Madison coming in. He looked better than Madison though, and Madison averaged almost 5. That backfield is really confusing at the moment. But anyway, that's not even a part of this conversation. It's Ramondre and Pittman for me. It's close.
I agree. I agree. We did get a super chat, by the way. But continue.
No, the last thing I was going to say is like I could see Terry being the highest scorer of all these names, but I want to, when they're so close because they're back to back in my rankings, I want to consider the context of them adding Kevin Byard. So,
sure. I mean, one of Terry's best games this year is against Philly.
It was, but they didn't have Kevin Byard. Now they do. I mean, they have been using like second and third string safeties, guys. Now you get one of the best guys in the league. I just feel like, they're and also, if the weather is impacting Pittsburgh, it could definitely impact the Eagles game or Washington game or any game on the East Coast that's outside. For Pittman to confirmed be in a dome, I just think it's something to consider, but it is tough. But anyway, we did get a super chat, so let's make sure we prioritize that. Thank you, Demetrios. I mean, that is a badass name. Thank you for the super chat. Very kind. Hi, non-PPR. So this is a standard league.
For that name.
Start and sit. Starters are Goff, Foreman, Mostert, Hall. So I think in order for us to answer this, and I want to give him some time to reply. Don't do another super chat. It's fine. You've already donated enough. We appreciate you. That's very kind. But we don't know what your starting roster looks like. You know what I mean, man? Because do you have one quarterback? Are you in a super flex league? Is it 2 running backs in your starting spot? Do you have 3 wide receivers starting or just 2? Do you have 1 flex? Do you have multiple flex? That is going to be important, but maybe he's already shown us his starting lineup as I'm reading this, right? Maybe. So it looks like he has 1 quarterback, 3 running backs,
2 wide receivers, tight end, and a defense.
So I think I'm actually finally starting to understand this. This is my bad. I'm an idiot. Okay, here's probably what is going on. He has 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. He's flexing Breece Hall. His tight end is Goddard. That's what it sounds like to me. So essentially, would you start Stafford or Goff? Let's start there. I would start Goff. Would you start Mixon over Foreman, Mostert, or Hall? I think I'd start Mixon over Foreman, personally.
I would start Mixon over Foreman, yes. So it'd be Mixon, Mostert, Hall.
Yes, we agree there. And would you start Downs or Samuel over Amon-Ra and Flowers? I would not.
No, I wouldn't either.
And you can't change out Kincaid for Goddard anymore, so you can't do that. Your defense is fine. As far as kicker, Moody is a fine kicker. So the only change we would make, my man, is we would change out Foreman for Mixon.
Yeah, we would change Foreman for Mixon. Completely agree.
Appreciate your donation, though. That's very, very kind of you. We did just get another donation from John. And John, his comment is above.
Yeah,
it says, should I trade Justin Jefferson for more pieces? Before I can answer this question, John, let us know in the comment real quick. What is your record? What is your current record in your league? But let's read the rest. Should I trade Jefferson for more pieces? I have Allen, Kyron Williams, James Conner, T. Higgins, Puka, TJ Hawkinson, James Conner, Jacoby Myers, Philadelphia's defense, and Rachaad White. What I'll say is just from looking at that roster, I think he may have won some games already and be in a position where he doesn't need to, because Jacoby's played well, Puka's played well, Kyron played well until he went on IR.
I think it's yeah, it just depends. Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, John, just drop a quick comment for us. All we need to know is what's your record. I'm 4-3.
I mean, you think about it, he has Kyron, so he probably lost. He definitely lost a game. I don't know if you. No,
that's fair.
I don't know if you win the game and then spend all your fab on Kyron.
That's true, but what I would say is like Hawkinson's been great, Puka's been great, Jacoby's been great, Allen's been great.
Like he has Kyron and Puka, unless he traded. as well. Like, think about that. I don't think anyone started with Kyron and Puka on their team.
No, that's fair. But also, if you got some people picked up Puka before. You know, we talked about it on their Dynasty channel. Some people would have been aware. As far as Kyron, no one really saw that coming.
Bro, you know, Matthew Perry died.
Nah.
Sorry, that's so random.
Really?
From Friends.
Friends?
He drowned in a jacuzzi.
He drowned in a jacuzzi.
That sounds sus. Who drowns in a jacuzzi? Sorry, that
Can
sounds.
you believe it? I got a jacuzzi.
Can you believe it?
Okay, firstly, that is incredibly sad because
Friends star Matthew Perry died at 54.
he is obviously an icon and a part of one of the best comedy shows of all time.
He suffered a cardiac arrest maybe in his jacuzzi.
Oh my gosh. Well, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. That is sad. That is sad to hear. But that is crazy. Jeez Louise.
It doesn't look like my guy's responding here, John Hargraves. Look,
yeah,
hopefully
we don't have
I think
any
a lot
reply.
of context.
Let's just answer it this way. John, if your team is currently 3-4, 2-5, clearly obviously like 1-6, right? Then you can go ahead and trade Justin Jefferson away. Just make sure you get an absolute haul. But if your team is 4-3, 5-2, 6-1, there is no reason at all for you to trade Justin Jefferson away. If you're 4-3 and you think you can go 500 until JJ is back, you keep Justin Jefferson. That's how I'd answer this question without knowing his record. You're muted, but
sorry, yes, I would just second that. That's what I was saying.
We did get another super chat from Russian, so we'll get to his question here. Man, you really, I'm trying to get through it, and I'm just thinking like, damn, that's kind of sad. Now we're
no, it is sad.
It's like, damn.
It's so random too.
I'm trying to just, obviously I don't know the guy. I'm not gonna cry over this, but it's sad. It's sad, and now I'm like, damn, one of an icon in the comedy world died, and you
think
fantasy
you just think about because I know he had stuff with drug problems,
issues,
so that he probably had that cardiac arrest probably affected him because of all the drugs he did earlier in his life or whatever the case may be. It's just
I don't know. I
sucks.
mean, it could or could not though, because honestly,
it could. I don't know.
The healthiest people in the world, just things happen to their body.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Anyway, rest in peace, and thank you for all you did for comedy.
Go watch Friends now if you haven't watched it.
Watch it. I feel like it's gonna be sad now. Anyway, let's start answering some more questions. Russian with the donation.
Appreciate
Starting
you.
Pollard, Kamara at running back, Olave, Addison at wide receiver. Flex is Higgins, Kirk, and I have Jacobs on the bench. Should I start him in the flex? I'd be starting Jacobs over both Higgins and Kirk personally. And here's how I'm playing this. If the weather is bad, I'm starting Higgins, Jacobs. If the weather is fine and there's no issues, I would start Kirk and Jacobs. But I just don't think you sit a guy like Jacobs. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, look, I understand. Russian, I would personally be having your lineup as is. I like Higgins over Jacobs. I am not saying that Jacobs can't perform. I think I'm going based off matchup, going based off how these teams performing. The Lions currently give up the third fewest amount of points to the running back position. Jacobs, we all know, has been struggling a little bit. Played Chicago last week, only 11 carries. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is second in leading this team, leading running back rooms in targets. I know also there's really a bad argument for Higgins, because what has Higgins done outside of the one game? But he's been injured. Joe Burrow hasn't been 100% in the first couple games. I think he has a good week, especially coming off this bye week against the San Francisco 49ers, who is the middle of the pack defense here. We saw what Jordan Addison did. Now they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. For me, I'm going T. But I understand. What Zach's saying with those opportunities that he gets on the ground. I mean, 25. He can have 25 plus touches, or T. Higgins can have, 4 targets. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, something that's not being talked about enough is not having Jimmy G in that offense. We can hate on Jimmy G all we want, but Jimmy G's been good for Devontae Adams. He's been good for Josh Jacobs. And I think you want Jimmy G in the lineup to get Josh Jacobs back on track, especially through the air. So, but I hear it and I can understand it. But hopefully that is helpful. Andrew, what's up, man? He says, Josh Downs is a buy in Dynasty, correct? You know, I will say this. Let's start here. Josh Downs is someone that you can flex for the rest of the year. Okay? I would not...
By the way, wait.
Go ahead,
what you're saying right now, what you're going to say right now is going to be the whole conversation of next year. Anyways, continue.
Totally. I mean,
I think I know what you're going to say.
To me, let's say Josh Downs finishes as a top 24 wide receiver this year in scoring. I will hold my hands up and say I'm wrong if I am, but that would signal to me a sell high. And that is because we have seen Josh Downs with his future quarterback, Anthony Richardson, and we have seen him with Gardner Minshew. And I can promise you all the money in the world that Gardner Minshew is not the starting quarterback for this team next year. So I love Anthony Richardson. I love watching him play. I still don't love him being the quarterback of my wide receiver in fantasy football. And the concerning part with Anthony Richardson when we scouted him this year is like, historic combine. Probably the most athletic quarterback to ever step on the field, including Cam Newton. Just from a physical perspective, from the perspective of testing, that's not a question. It's just a fact. Okay, he's not a better player than Cam Newton when he started, but physically, athletically, the most athletically talented quarterback ever. That was never the question. The question was always, could he develop as a passer? And from what we have seen, that hasn't been the case yet. There have been flashes. You will watch Anthony Richardson play and you'll be like, holy shit, this guy is going to be better than Patrick Mahomes. And then you look at the box score, 5 for 17. You're like, he completed 30% of his passes? There's no way. So everything is there for him to become an incredible talent, right? And clearly, he'll never be better than Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully, people can see that as hyperbole. But so yeah, like to me, I would hope he strings together another 5-6 good games, and I would 100% sell him high, 100%. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's where my concern has always been with Anthony Richardson, not Gardner Minshew.
I agree, and I would say this, Andrew. If you want to buy Josh Downs, I don't think you're going to be able to buy him for less than a second. If somehow
I would send a second for him, but you couldn't get him for a second right now. That's the issue.
Exactly. I don't think you can get him for a second. And I'm not sitting a first. This team is still, under 500. This could be a top team with a top 12 pick that could get another wide receiver. I mean, they're already in talks of trying to trade for a wide receiver.
Why?
As well.
Like that was so confusing to me. The biggest name around Judy is Judy is the Colts.
It's the Colts, exactly.
Why?
Because you have exactly the way Josh Downs has been playing, and now you're saying, well, Jerry Judy is available. Does
Jerry Judy would be the worst thing ever for Pittman and Downs, and not because he's some elite talent, because it just makes it way more confusing.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of question marks to still be said at the trade deadline. If no one comes onto this team, it could be interesting. But at the same time, I won't be surprised if the Colts have a top 15 pick and they get a Malik Neighbors, they get a Rome Odunze, they get whoever the case may be, right? That's going to affect Josh Downs regardless. So keep that in mind. That's a long-winded answer.
Or what if they get Brock Bowers or something? I mean, I've seen that mocked before. Obviously, it's way too early to even consider mock drafts. But, to me, a time to buy is not necessarily when everyone's starting this player. It's like before that happens, before a player is locked into lineups, that's your time to buy. To me, Michael Wilson, it's time to buy Michael Wilson right now, right? It's time to buy Tank Dell. It's time to buy Marvin Mims. It's time to buy Jonathan Mingo. And that not for the same price, obviously, as Josh Downs, but yeah, so that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully that helps. Andrew, thank you so much for the super chat. We did get another super chat from Russian. He said,
well,
Burrow...
stop. We got one from Stop City Rams, but I don't see a question.
I don't see that either.
I don't see a question. If he's in the chat, let us know. But I don't see a question from him. It looks like it was retracted. So maybe he can let us know if he had a question there. But yeah, Russian was the next one after that.
Yeah, Burrow or Love. I think we'll both go Burrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we will both go Burrow. Yeah. I agree.
Hopefully that helps there. We did get another one here from Bimbout Dollars. The
Dollarita is back.
The Dollaritas are back. A limited soup salad and breadsticks at your local Olive Garden, ladies and gentlemen. Gibbs and Amari Cooper or Ayuk. I'm assuming this is a trade. So you're saying Jahmyr Gibbs and Amari Cooper for Brandon Ayuk? About dollars?
The only way to answer this is to know a lot more context. Like if you trade away Jahmyr Gibbs, who's your running back room now? Do you have 3 guys now that you can rely on without Jahmyr Gibbs? Because if that's the case, I'll go out and I'm fine with this to get Ayuk. What I would say is, like, I think that there is definitely room for a 2-for-2 here. So keep Ayuk, but who's that piece that you can get back in return that, you know, isn't starting for that guy? But yeah, again, if Gibbs is important to your lineup right now, you shouldn't trade him. But if he's like your RB4, then you can make a move like this.
Completely agree. Top of the hour.
He said he has Eckler, Bijan, and Brees. So, yeah, I think he can make that move personally.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that as well.
But again, I think you can get something back with Ayuk. So maybe counter and add that player that has upside that's sitting on his bench. So, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
We will be live. What do you want to do, dude? Normally we go 2 hours. The stream is just rolling. Do we want to do 15 minutes from now? So 5 minutes past the hour.
Yeah, 5 minutes past the hour. We'll give them a couple things. I do have a couple things to do with family, so I'm happy to do that. So 5 minutes past the hour. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, so we will be live.
Get to every chat.
We'll be live for the next 15 minutes. Keep in mind, super chats will get prioritized. Otherwise, we'll do our absolute best from top to bottom to answer those other questions. Tingley is the next one. He says, quarterback to play if Lawrence doesn't play / whether Love, Minshew. Let's start there. Love would be the option for me.
Yep. Agreed.
Myers, Ridley, or London. This would be Myers for me.
Myers. Agreed.
Donald says Tyson Fury 1. You love it. Or maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know much about it, honestly.
I really don't know.
Dylan or Brian Robinson? Brian for me.
Yeah, give me B-Rob.
What's up, Macy? Welcome in, my man. It's good to see you.
You're
always love to have you in the stream. We did just get a donation from Will, so let's answer that right away. Will says lineup is okay. So he's showing us the starting lineup. That's good. He says quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a tight end, and then I'm assuming a flex.
It's a wide receiver tight end flex, and then a wide receiver running back flex. It looks like. Okay, so let's start from the top. You quarterback, you start Stroud. Your 2 running backs. It looks like he has Kenneth Walker, and I'm starting Swift. I'm going to the wide.
You're starting Ken Walker and Swift, right?
Yes, Kenneth Walker and Swift. Then you go to the wide receiver room. It looks like he has Devontae Adams, Olave. I'm going Devontae Adams, Olave.
Agreed.
And then
let's play it this way. If you can choose 1 flex, it would be Pacheco for me. If I can choose 2 flexes, it would be Pacheco and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, okay. But he also has an opportunity to start 2 tight ends. I guess I didn't. Yeah, so he has Laporta. Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's a perfect lineup.
Okay. Yes, hopefully that helps.
I wonder if
if the weather is atrocious in New York, then start Laporta instead of Garrett. Thank you, Andrew, for the donation, man. Very, very kind of you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, again, we're answering from top to bottom. There's a lot of questions up top here. Keep that in mind, guys. We'll be live until 5 minutes past the top of the hour. Raiders fan since 1967 says, hello, guys. Foreman
How
or
you doing?
Mixon? I'll go Mixon.
Agreed.
Or Gus Edwards, I think maybe. I'm going Mixon here.
I'm going Mixon this week as well.
Hall or Achane rest of season? Got to be Hall. He's healthy.
Yeah, be Hall for me.
Noah, what's up, man? He says, 1 PPR, need 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. We're starting Brees. We are starting Garrett Wilson, and we're starting Gibbs.
Gibbs, exactly.
Andy, what's up, man? 12-man standard, Mac Jones or Jordan Love? Jordan Love. Also,
Yep.
Henderson or Stevenson, right?
Stevenson. Yep, agreed.
Austin says, thoughts on this trade, Etienne for Pollard? I'd rather have Etienne right now.
I'd rather have Etienne right now as well.
He says, competitive week, can't afford Etienne on bye. But can you afford to not have Etienne the rest of the year? I know the bye week is coming up, but
yeah, well, he has a bye week next week. Am I right?
yes.
You're competitive. Like, this is a must-win type of week next week, I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe you're just trying to get above 500. I'm willing to take this chance without... I still rather have Travis Etienne long-term, personally. I mean, RB3 right now, Tony Pollard. I mean, the reports as well. Like, do you want Tony Pollard with the reports of Derrick Henry also being a contender going to this team?
Do you really see that happening, though?
Not saying it will. I don't see it happening.
I don't
But,
either.
like, I do... That will make me hesitant on maybe getting a Tony Pollard, or maybe you can see the opposite way of buying him as people trying to sell him now before Henry does get on this team, if that does happen. I want Travis Etienne.
Same. It's a tough spot. Use discretion. What I would say is if you're going to do that deal, you need to make that a 2-for-2, and I'm upgrading at tight end. I'm upgrading at wide receiver. Like, okay, let's do the deal. But add this player, I'll add this player. You're upgrading, I'm upgrading. You see what I'm saying? We did just get a donation from Stop City Ram. Thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate that.
Stop City.
10-team half PPR. He's currently 5-2. I have Eckler, Pollard, JT Kamara, Puka, St. Brown, Laporta, Christian Watson, and Mari Cooper, Michael Thomas, Ridley Fields, and Kyler Murray. Should I hold or make some more upgrades? You're 5-2 for a reason, my man, and Eckler hasn't even gotten rolling. Who's his tight end again?
It's tight end.
Laporta?
Sam Laporta. I mean, this is a perfect team. This is what I would say. The only thing I personally see right now, to keep it short and sweet, is to sell one of those running backs for another pillar wide receiver. I'm assuming you have Puka and St. Brown. Can I get, and I'm assuming you have, hypothetically, this is just a normal flex. So 2 wide receivers and 1 flex option. Can I trade away Tony Pollard and get a high caliber wide receiver? Can I trade away?
Can you package, let's say, Pollard and
Amari Cooper?
Sure.
And get somebody big. You're 5-2 right now. I'm willing to take that risk and get a JJ. Imagine you having Puka, Amara, and JJ on this
Justin
team.
Jefferson is a target for a team like this, unquestionably.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would be doing.
My mind actually went to, in a 10 team, I'm willing to upgrade at quarterback, and my dream is getting Travis Kelce. That would be your absolute dream for this team. I know Laporta is great. I think we would also prefer Kelce. And Laporta, do you trust him or Kelce in your fantasy playoffs? I'd rather have Kelce. I think we all agree. So,
sure.
Can I package Laporta and Amari Cooper and get a Travis Kelce? Can I package Laporta and maybe I do it a 2-for-2 where I send Laporta and JT, I get Kelce and Gibbs, just as an example, right? So that's a move I would be looking to do. Also, with Justin Fields and Kyler Murray, I mean, I would be willing to package like Justin Fields and Amari Cooper, again, just using his name, to get like a solidified Hurts, Allen, So I think typically we wouldn't be doing those type of trades, but you're in a 10-man, so quarterback and tight end becomes more valuable.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, we would not be forcing a trade to get rid of Eckler, Pollard, JT, or Kamara. It's like you only move those guys if you can get big upgrades.
Yeah. Exactly.
Otherwise, you're just keeping those guys as your strengths. So
you want superstars without a doubt. So
great team.
Keep that in mind.
Very
Thank you so
good
much for the
team.
super chat, though.
Okay, let's see. From top to bottom, again, guys, we'll only be live for the next 9 minutes, so keep that in mind. We're answering questions from top to bottom. The next one I can see is from Daniel Macy. What is up? Start Deonta Foreman or Miles Sanders? It would be Foreman for me.
Yeah, it'll be Foreman in this scenario. Foreman does have better. Miles Sanders is really close. Bro, this is tough, man.
It's Foreman for me. I don't.
It's Foreman. It's Foreman, but I just see Miles coming back here. But we'll wait and see.
He definitely could. Rodney says flex, D-Hop, Dobbs, or Shaheed.
I'm going Dobbs here. I actually saw a stat the other day. I don't know how relevant this is. It could be true. It could be wrong. That Dobbs is one of the, I think he's top 15 in red zone targets amongst wide receivers right now.
Okay.
Not
sense.
sure how
he's got a lot of touchdowns and not a lot of yards.
Yeah, not sure how true that is. So I'm going Dobbs there, hoping he finds the end zone.
I'll go Dobbs as well. Raiders fan says Foreman or Mixon in my RB2 slot. This would be Mixon. Or drop Foreman for Edwards.
I don't know if I want to drop Foreman, but I'd rather start Mixon over Foreman. And if you're telling me that Edwards is on the waiver wires right now and you can start Edwards over Foreman, I would.
Yeah, I would start Mixon over all of them though, and I would rather stash Foreman than Edwards.
Agreed.
AC says got a trade offer. Give up Purdy and Adams for Mahomes and Mike Evans. Yeah, you smash accept that one. With the way Evans is playing, yes.
Agreed.
Juan says flex, Waddle, Addison, or Flowers. This is very, very close one. Very close. Very, very tough one to answer. Because any three of these guys could outshine the other. Truly.
Where you? I think I know where I'm going.
I think I'm going Jordan Addison.
I am going Jordan Addison as well. I think he has a safer floor. Waddle hasn't been consistent, and Jordan Addison, I think, is the definition of consistent outside of the one game he didn't catch anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So give me
Macy says start Henderson or Sanders. Henderson for me.
Yeah, I think I said Sanders earlier, and I'm going Miles Sanders here.
Okay. Daryl Moore says start one Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, or Bijan. This would be Bijan for me.
Bijan. Yep, Bijan.
Walter, what's up, man? Start Josh Downs or Tyler Lockett. This would be Lockett for me. I know you've been going Downs for most of these questions.
I am going
This
Downs
is
as
Lockett
well.
for me personally, but I can understand Downs.
Yeah.
HD, what's up, man? Pick two Ayuk, Flowers, Dell, Olave. This would be Ayuk and Olave for me.
Agreed. Ayuk and Olave.
Donald says, should I cut Foreman and go pick up Kyler Murray? My quarterback is Justin Herbert.
Depending on who Foreman is, like who Foreman is to you.
That's a good point. Who is Foreman to you? Is he someone you're starting? Is he someone you're relying on? If not, if you're not even consider starting him, then yeah, go get Kyler.
But in a one quarterback league, though, I'm still happy with Herbert over Kyler personally.
Same,
long term.
but those are like top tier guys that you might get trade value for.
True, that can help as well.
Kenny, what's up, man? Christian Kirk or Hopkins? I'm going Kirk.
Going Kirk.
I would start Cleveland. You know, you want to have Cleveland 9 times out of 10 in fantasy this.
No matter if the matchup is bad, you still start Cleveland.
Pigeon, what's up, man? It's been a while. Good to see you. 14 team, 1 quarterback. Just traded Golf and Scary Terry in a 25 second and 26 thirds for Pittman. I know it's a bit of an overpay, but I'm vibing with it. So it's 1 quarterback, Golf, and Terry. And a second. And 2/3 is what it sounds like.
A 25 third and a 26 third for Pittman.
I gotta be honest. I'm not in love with it. What about you? Like I don't think that Pittman is a huge upgrade over Terry, and that's my problem.
Yeah, I think that as well. And I know I wonder, Pigeon, if you're probably thinking about Anthony Richardson, the long-term question. Probably getting extended. You're seeing how successful they are in the passing game. I mean, we had that whole rant earlier about Anthony Richardson and Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs, excuse me. And Jared Goff has been well, and he's going to get extended. Are I wonder who your quarterback is, and then win this one quarterback league, and especially in the 14-man league.
I bet you Goff is very expendable for him, and I can understand that. But in a 14-teamer, man, I just feel like quarterbacks are a little more valuable than your typical 12-team.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just wonder who that quarterback is, and I'm assuming he has somebody that is, 14-man league, he probably does have a top middle of the tier quarterback. Yeah, I would agree there,
I don't think this is gonna like make or break your dynasty team. I just think it is an overpay in my personal opinion. We always want to be honest, right?
I always want to be honest.
We are only going to be live for the next 3 minutes, so please keep that in mind. We told you guys we've been live we've been live over 2 hours now. We gotta go do some things with our families here. But Will is the next question I can see in order. He says, "Hey guys, week 8 start Stroud." So I think I'm trying to understand the question. Start Stroud. His wide receivers are Devontae, Olave, Garrett Wilson. Do you understand the question here?
No, Will, we just need a lot. Didn't we have a super chat from him?
We did.
Wasn't this a super chat?
I don't think so. I'm confused about how many players he can start and how many players he needs to sit.
Yeah.
Without knowing any information, you start Devontae, you start Olave, you start Walker, you start Swift, you start Pacheco. I don't know the exact context there though.
Yeah, I would agree.
So hopefully that helps. Addison or Gibbs? Ooh, that's a very good question. I would say Gibbs.
I'm going Addison, actually. I would say Addison.
I can understand. I just think Gibbs is going to touch the ball more, and I like the matchup. But I understand. Juan, what's up, Juan? Which 3 do I start? Full PPR: Kamara, JT, Pacheco, Brees, Ramondre Stevenson. You start Kamara. You start Brees. You start Pacheco for me.
JT over Pacheco.
I'm going Pacheco over JT.
Yeah, I'll rock with you there.
It's close though. Browns kicker or Cowboys? Flip a coin. Honestly,
Cowboys.
Flip a coin, but probably Cowboys. Yeah. Let's see. Swift or Bijan or Josh Jacobs rest of season. Rank them 1 to 3. This would be Bijan, Jacobs, Swift for me.
Right now for me it's Bijan, Swift, Jacobs, but that can easily change if Jacobs picks it up.
Yeah. Kyle says Downs, Palmer, or Najee in the flex. This would be Palmer if he plays, otherwise Downs.
Downs, exactly.
Higgins or Downs? I'm going Higgins.
Exactly.
Hospital Mike says pick 2 rest of season. Boyd, Cooks, Hyatt. Man, you are in a deep league here, I imagine. It would be Cooks, Hyatt, Boyd in that order for me.
Agreed.
Pittman or Ridley? I'm going Pittman.
Yep, with the context of the weather, keep that in mind.
DeMarcado or Foreman? I'm going Foreman.
Agreed.
Tay Ewing says start Pickens, Dobbs, Downs, or Lockett at the flex. This one is... I
think I said Downs earlier.
To me, if the weather is fine, it's Pickens. If the weather's a problem, it's a Lockett for me.
Okay.
Okay, we have officially reached the 5 minutes past the hour. I'm sorry, guys, we weren't able to get to everyone's questions. Hopefully you can understand. We got to go be with our family a little bit. It's a weekend for us. It's actually Sunday. We got to go be with our family where we are. But we appreciate y'all. We tried to answer as many questions as we could. But good luck this week. Again, keep in mind, as we end the stream, I just feel like this is overall general help for anyone out there. Just keep track of these 3 matchups: Jets, Giants, Jags, Steelers, and Chiefs, Broncos. These could all be weather games that you need to keep track of, have pivot options available. The only other thing is, if you want to support this channel, it is very, very simple. We actually provide a service, guys, where you can DM us and ask us a question. Okay? If you want access to that service, use our promo code LAND, sign up to the Flock Fantasy website, and then DM us when you do it. Just make sure you choose that Mother Flocker tier. You'll unlock that DM. DM us on Discord. You can find the link to the Discord in the description. Outside of that, have a good week. Hopefully everything you need to happen happens for you. My rankings will be updated over on the Flock Fantasy website as well. But enjoy the rest of your day, guys. All love.
Love.